Soccer is the same thing. Yes. Imagine, I mean, soccer is, it's one of those things where I think soccer is probably 60-40.
Depends on the position.
Also could depend on the position. Because think about how soccer was, I always think I could make the funniest Geico commercials if all of a sudden we talked about, you know, think about a boxer. What if a boxer was only an aerobic boxer? They would never have that ability to move like that. So, I mean, you have to stop and think. If all of a sudden I'm going to have a soccer player that needs to really be dynamic and explosive, depending on their position, of course, then they have to be dynamic. And what drives me crazy is, does a soccer player ever need to run one direction in their training? Does a soccer player need to run 6 miles? They might run 6 miles during a game, but do they need to run 6 miles in one solid direction for their training? Do they? You'd be surprised what we've seen and what we stop and think about that. Do I need a soccer player to develop the motor patterns of being able to cut, to move, to do all of these different things? Even if the collective distance is 6 miles, I don't need that soccer player. Who are the only people that I need to train to run 6 miles in one direction?
Cross country.
Cross country runners. Yeah, I mean, you guys, we're training people in stupid ways because that was, I mean, you guys, baseball players don't need to run 2 miles.
What about pitchers? Like, what do you think about that for the lactic acid?
Okay, and we're going to talk about lactic acid and lactate after this game. But here's what we know. A pitcher does need to be able to develop some amount of endurance, definitely. But I would never, ever, ever have an athlete that needs to be able to generate force move in a one direction at a lower force for an extended time. Because you're going to give up force production when you actually add endurance. So why can't I do an endurance program that still allows me to keep force production up? It's kind of interesting when you stop and think about it. And when we start to talk about energy systems next week, okay, y'all are going to go, oh, why did my coach do that? No wonder I didn't get faster. No wonder it just becomes really obvious when you stop and think about what you're asking your body to do. Did we talk about on Tuesday, your body will respond to whatever you ask it to? Your body will respond to
Whatever you ask it to.
Your body will respond to
Whatever you ask
So
it
here's,
to.
again, think about my pitcher. If I am telling my pitchers to go out and run 2 miles in a straight linear distance, they're never going to move 2 miles in a straight linear distance in competition. So I'm asking them to train in a way that they will never compete. What kind of people are we?
Smart people.
Why have we been doing stupid things? Yes, the only people that should run are who? Runners. Okay? I mean, it drives me crazy when I hear about basketball players. You know what? Go run to J.C. Park and come back. You know what you're doing to their vertical jump? You're decreasing their vertical jump. Okay? Everyone has this fundamental belief that every single sport needs to have a running base to it. That is not true. That is not true. I should have had the camera on the faces in the crowd. That's the best one. I need to have that ready because whenever we start to talk about that, they're like, I can see y'all are like in replay going, I cannot believe our coach did that to us. And then screamed at us because our force production went down. Well, your body will respond to what did he ask you to? Yes.
So I had a coach in high school that like made us run like the whole football field. Then he got let go that year, and we got a new coach that came in. He'd only make us do like 10-yard sprints because he's like, never in the football game are y'all gonna be running hundreds of yards. So, dude smart.
I mean, and hopefully some of this old school thinking is going away. Kind of like in nutrition. Hopefully some of the old school thinking of consuming 65% of your calories from carbohydrates is going away. You guys, we're learning better, so you have to do better. We're learning better, so we have to do better. Again, running the complete length of the football field, if you stop and think about this, let's say you do have a receiver that by the greatness of an incredible catch, let's say they even get a 70-yard run. Number one, statistically, what are the odds of that really happening?
It's really unlikely.
Really unlikely. So do we need to be training for the really unlikely? Not really. Because here's what happens. When that athlete has been trained properly, there's this thing called a catecholamine that's like an endorphin that's going to automatically flip a switch and take care of you. You're going to be in that moment, and when you say, you see the afterburners turn on, it's a beautiful thing. The body is so amazing. We're just not using it like we know that we should. So on game day, I'm going to ask you some sports that typically go high or low in type 1 or type 2 utilization. Say got it when you got it.
Got it.
All right, let's stand up and play. Stand up. Spread out. We got all this room. Okay. Yeah, get from behind your chair and spread out. All right. So we're going to talk about this thing called proprioceptors in your body. Now, proprioceptors in our body are our best friends. We just have not been utilizing them efficiently and effectively. Remember this? What is this?
Efficient and effective.
Efficient and effective. We've been ignoring our muscle spindles. Let me tell you, you won't ignore them anymore because you'll pay attention to them. So you have two different kinds of muscle spindles. Don't worry about writing notes because all this is going to be on YouTube. You can watch it again. Okay? Now, two different kinds of muscle spindles. Or two different kinds of proprioceptors. You have this thing called muscle spindles. And so everybody go like this. Muscle spindles run along the length of your muscles. And all they're doing, so maybe you move up and down your bicep, move up and down your quads. All they're doing is sensing a change in length. And if everything moves as it should safely, your muscle spindles are like, I got you covered. I got your back. We got it going on. But if all of a sudden you do something to where you go beyond your muscle spindles, okay, there are these things called GTOs, Golgi tendon organs. Golgi tendon organs and muscle spindles work together beautifully. Muscle spindles are running along, they're like the police. All of a sudden, the area is nice and safe. Well, all of a sudden, there might be a wreck, and they alert, and they have to call the ambulance. The Golgi tendon organs are kind of like the ambulance on the scene. They're going to all of a sudden stop the muscle from stretching any farther because what's about to happen? You're about to be injured. So look what's happened. So these are muscle. What was this? What was this? Okay, so all of a sudden, cross bridge, everything's rocking, everything's rolling. Your muscle spindles are happy. All of a sudden, I get you right here, I get you right here, I get you right here. And if everything is great, your Golgi tendon organs are going to step in and keep you right here. They're going to put the brakes on. Now, if they don't, what happens? Injury. Okay? Muscle spindles, muscle spindles, muscle spindles, 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 Golgi tendon organs. You didn't get hurt. You're just a little sore, a little bit of tendinitis. Everything's going to be okay. But all of a sudden, stretch, muscle spindles, muscles, Golgi tendon organs, Golgi tendon. You're in the training room or the operating room if it gets too bad. Now, another thing we don't really think about is these are going on all the time. So I want you to feel your muscle spindles. So what I want you to do is I want you to balance on one foot. If you're leaning on the wall, get off the wall. Okay, so you're balancing on one foot. Yeah, are pretty good. Now close your eyes. Oh, y'all just got really ugly. Should have been filming the whole thing. Okay, so let's decompress that. So what was going on? I asked you to stand on one foot. Your muscle spindles were saying, you're awesome, you got this, you got this. So I took away your vision, which your vision is a proprioception helper, yes or no? Yes, it tells you where your body is in space. So I took away your vision, and all of a sudden y'all started looking like this, okay? So all of a sudden your Golgi tendon organs checked in, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna keep you from falling, I'm gonna keep you from falling, I'm gonna keep you from falling. Yes, that's going on at all times. Stand on the other foot now. Now close your eyes. Excellent. Not quite as bad. Give yourself a hand. Have a seat, please.
Do you want to stop?
Yeah, stop it and start again.